Hey, this is Mike, and this is going to be kind of a ranty video here, so yeah, buckle in for that because I've gotten some news today that I am not happy about, and this is a topic that has been probably ranted about to death at this point, at least in the video game world. But as far as board games goes, it's kind of like a newly emerging issue that's happening here. And I know that a lot of it has to do with the tariffs that's going on right now, but it's also not based solely on the tariff issue. A lot of it I'm seeing from what I'm seeing, I personally think it's just corporate, like plain out corporate greed, and it's just insane at this point. So it needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about. People need to hear about this, I feel. So the game I want to talk about is a game I've spoken about in the past, one of my favorite board games of all time, Dice Throne. And Dice Throne is basically it's mostly a head-to-head kind of TCG-like dice chucking, like card battler type game, where you don't have to, it's not a real TCG because you don't have to collect cards, you don't have to open packs, you have like your own custom deck and that kind of thing. And you roll dice, Yahtzee style 3 times, try to activate abilities. It's a really fun game, and I've been championing that for a while now. Really, really big into it. But the reason why I'm making this video is because they just launched on Kickstarter a new campaign. So in the new campaign, you get 4 new heroes, which is per the course for them. That's usually how they go about releasing their heroes, is in a pack of 4. In some kind of package, but it also used to include a lot of nice stuff. If you pay some extra coin, you're gonna get some like really nice acrylic like status effect tokens, or they'll give you the sleeves with like special hero art on them. All that stuff, if you pay a little bit extra, would be included, which was amazing. That's great customer service right there. You get what you pay for. Albeit even then it was like a little bit expensive, I thought, but it's still, you're getting a good amount there. And now they've made it where they took some of those components, like one of them I forgot to mention was like the sculpts for each hero, which you use in like an adventure type game, like adventure mode. They took the card sleeves, which people really like to get, so you can protect your cards, and they packaged it as like an accessory pack with the sculpts, and I think they also include the acrylic status effects tokens and all that. So it's a separate pack now. So now they're selling these now they're selling them as kind of like the retail versions, where it's like, you get the punch out like cardboard status effect tokens, which are fine for me, but I understand why fans are upset that now these good components that used to come with the the price tag, now you have to pay extra if you want to get them. And one of the main issues that people are having with this is how it's packed, because okay, well, they might want the card sleeves and they're willing to pay for that, but they don't give a shit about the sculpt. Okay, they don't care about that. So, or maybe they don't care about the status effect tokens. They're fine with the, cardboard ones, which are still pretty decent quality. So, but essentially people are saying, and they're blowing this up on the YouTube's kind of like announcement video of this, is that they're paying like $80 extra to get those things that originally were included. You would pay a certain price, and all of that was included, along with the 4 heroes that you're gonna, that you're buying, and you didn't have to worry about anything. But now, people are getting so upset that they're not even, some of them, not all of them, but I saw a couple of comments where they're not even backing it. So they're losing business, essentially. Or at the very least, they're like, well, I'm not going to buy the expensive shit, but I'll wait for it to hit retail, because it will. And then I'll just, buy the cheap shit. Because I don't even think they don't have like a retail level pledge on their Kickstarter. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty certain that they don't have it. So if you don't get in on this Kickstarter thing, you're going to be missing out on, I think quite a bit for a while. It's not, the retail might not come out for some time. So like, I don't know, but understandably people are upset. And I'm upset because it's not, and I know these games are being made overseas, because if you look at the shipping, it says that, there's a shipping timeline. It says that this stuff on this date are going to get on a boat. And then it's going to take about 2 months to get to its destination. So it's being shipped on a freighter, basically, to the U.S. or, to other countries. And if it's, coming from overseas, that is, that's prone to tariffs. That's going to happen. So I understand the price there. But this was a decision. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to take the accessories out and then put it in a separate pack for players, for their fans to purchase. When in the past, they've had maybe about 3 or 4 other Kickstarters now, and all that shit was included. They could have just upped the price, okay, to keep up with the freaking, with the tariffs like everyone else is doing. Just up the price, but keep the same quality. Maybe, hey, if you want to be really good, maybe throw in a little tiny extra, like a little extra something. But no, you're basically charging the same exact thing with less, like a lesser version of it at either the same or maybe even a slightly higher, price tag. It sucks. And I still love Dice Throne, the game. I question the company right now based on this. I know that they had, they just got a new CEO because one of their main guys went with a different company right now. He's still working with Dice Throne, but he's, kind of in between companies, working at 2 different places, and, I don't know why, I don't know the details on that, but he's not 100% fully involved like he was, and now they got a new CEO. And ever since then, now all this shit's happening. So it reeks of corporate greed. But maybe they will listen to their fans. Maybe, there will be enough of a hit to their Kickstarter here that they'll look at it and be like, okay, how can we, redo this, make our fans happy? I hope they do, because this is a great game and it's got a great community behind it. Fans that are really passionate about it, the ones that really get into it and go out and do like the competitive, and go into the competitive scene, and it's great. I've been enjoying it quite a bit, and even though I'm only playing casual at the moment. But they're promising all these other heroes. They got so many big plans that's coming, and now I'm worried about it. I'm really worried just based on this one Kickstarter. It's just like you're promising, okay, they had a YouTube video that said like the future of Dice Throne, and they were talking about all these big changes that people were like drooling over, like, that sounds awesome, I want that, and now they didn't mention this shit to anyone. They did not mention this to anyone. The only way they found out about this was on the fucking Kickstarter. What is that bullshit? Come on. It just, it doesn't show any hope for the future when they do stuff like that. So, I'm a little worried. I'll still, I have what I have. I own what I own, and I will continue to play that. I just, I wanted to see them succeed. I wanted to see the community grow, not shrink, so that, we can keep, the game's thriving, we can keep playing it. And I want to see Dice Throne Digital become a thing. So I can play this, basically wherever, whenever. That's another Kickstarter that's coming up that I am just dying to know more about. And the Kickstarter's already been up there for about 10 months as like coming soon, and no further details have been said about it yet, except for it's entered production, and they told us about the team that they have involved with it, with the production. I think it's Nerd Ninjas, and apparently they're the same company that worked on the was it Pokemon Pocket app, like the game app. I think that's what it's called, which is good. That's a good app. So hey, if it's something like that, that's pretty cool. I could see that working out. But you piss off your fans like this, and it's not going to happen. All right, it's just not. They're going to turn on you, and this whole shit is going to get shut down. So, just hey, Dice Throne, if you're listening, listen to your fans. I'm one of them. That was a shit decision, and people are going to ask you to make up for it. Okay, it's just that's how it is. It was just not a good decision. It has nothing to do with the fucking climate right now with the tariffs. It may have a little bit to do with that, but it's not the whole story here. That's not the way most fans are seeing it. So please address this. Thank you.